Hello again and welcome back to my channel. If you are a regular viewer or subscriber to the channel, you will know I am a big fan of the Aldi Workzone Ferrex tool range. Okay, I think the majority of tools, both corded and cordless, in my little garage workshop are made up from tools purchased from Aldi. I have a small selection here. I have my Workzone track saw at the back. I have my my Ferrex Impact Driver, which was the first tool review I did on the channel, which is by far the most popular video I've ever uploaded. I also have my Ferrex 18 volt cordless brad nail gun, which I've been using a lot more, and certainly in my last video for making the cold storage box. I also have an 18 volt Workzone jigsaw, which also opens up as a small reciprocating saw. And I have say last year, purchased a Workzone Cordless 18 volt planer. Now, before we have a little bit more of a look at this in depth, I just want to deal with two questions that come up in my other Ferrex Aldi reviews. The most common questions, and if you have a look in the comment section, you'll see what I mean. It's often in regards to these: is this battery compatible with that so on and so forth. Now, to very quickly go over it, the Ferrex Impact Driver is one of a multi-tool selection that Aldi brought out last year, powered by either the 20 volt or 40 volt cordless battery. Okay, other tools that they brought out included a lawnmower, chainsaw, grass trimmer, which I also done a review for, circular saw. So it was like a one battery multi-tool concept, like other manufacturers, Ryobi, Hikoki, etc. Okay, that's not to be confused with Ferrex's 18 volt range of cordless tools, like the brad nail gun. Now, if you see it as an 18 volt cordless tool, they are not compatible with the 20 volt or the 40 volt. Alright, just to make that one clear. And then also, not to confuse matters because it comes under a different name, Aldi also have the Workzone range of tools, cordless tools, which again are 18 volts. Now, a question that does crop up is, does the Ferrex 18 volt cordless tools, are they compatible with the Workzone cordless tools? Hand on heart, I don't fully know, but I am going to say no because of the actual information that's provided underneath, and I will provide a picture of the two, the info underneath. They are markedly different in terms of amps, volts. Now, I don't really massively understand that stuff, but I am thinking if you took one of those batteries and took a Ferrex one and put it into a Workzone one, although possibly it may work, I'd imagine it'd be quite dangerous. It would probably burn out the tool or the battery. Not a good idea. So, just to make it clear, Workzone 18 volt, yeah, pretty straightforward. The jigsaw battery, the 18 volt one, works with the planer because it's the same ampere, the same wattage, the same voltage, so that's fine. They will work across from each other. Ferrex 18 volt, keep it to Ferrex 18 volt tools, and then you have the multi-tool, the 20 volt or the 40 volt, keep them separate as well. Lots of chargers, but having said that, the tools are a lot cheaper, so it is a small sacrifice to make. Okay, now let's take a little look at the planer. I got this, and as I said in the title, for $29.99 in Aldi's range of Black Friday sale, so it was sort of early mid-November time. It seems to be Black November, I think, because sales seem to run on forever these days. And I just want to deal with a couple of things as to why someone might justify wanting to purchase one of these, and also why you wouldn't want to buy one, because someone asked me about this, thinking about buying one, and it wasn't the tool really that they needed. If, for example, you have just had new carpet fitted in your house and your new carpet is 20 mils thicker than your old stuff, and you need to take, for example, that amount off the bottom of your door, then a planer's not the tool for you to get. You really want to be looking at probably a track saw, which is much easier to use than a circular saw, or a circular saw, something that will cut a significant chunk of wood off. So you then say, well, why would you be looking to invest in a planer? Now, a planer can be used, or an electric planer can be used to smooth off rough surfaces. Also, it could be used to kind of flatten out maybe small ridges. So if you have, for example, the side of your door, when you're closing it over because you've just painted it, not with gloss paint obviously, with some satin wood or something along those lines, and you need to maybe take off a mil or half a mil up the side of a section of your door for it to fit in properly, then yes, that's something that a planer would be suitable for. You're looking to smooth off a wooden surface, then you're taking off a very small amounts, then yeah, that would be something a planer would be suited for. Now, an electric planer for me is good, obviously working with just the one hand. I need to be very careful though, because you kind of have to apply pressure on the front, but I've developed a little bit of a technique which I can kind of manage with. So let's take a little closer look at what you get with the Workzone planer. Okay, out of the box we have the planer body, we have the 18-volt battery, we have the charger, don't forget to put a label on it, we have the dust or chip collection bag, and we also have the user manual, which don't forget comes with the all-important 3-year guarantee. Alright, a little bit more of a closer look at the planer body itself. Let's put it on this so we can see. At the front, which is the handle which you guys will be using to apply forward pressure, is also the adjuster for the depth of cut. Now it goes in millimeters by 0.1 millimeter up to 1.5. Recommendations if you're only using a planer for the first time, and also if you've been using one for a long time, is to take the smallest amount possible off with each pass. Try and take 1.5 mil off in one go, not going to end well. Alright, so the smaller, lots of passes on the smaller amount. Okay, also on the, if I spin it around this way, on the planer body we have the dust extraction or the chip extraction either side. So if you're left-handed or right-handed, it doesn't matter. There is an arrow on one side, and if you turn other way, sorry, this round and the arrow to this side, so the chip extraction will come out on this side. Let's turn it back because that's the side that I use. Okay, so the side of the planer body at the back, if you pull it out, you have the Allen key and the little spanner. That is for changing the planer blades. And at the back, for where the battery easily pops in. Okay, now underneath we also have the under section there. Now on the front section, I will tell you about this. It's something I don't use myself because I don't think it's necessarily safe for someone with one hand to do. On the front section is a groove, a V groove. Now this is if you are intending to use the planer as to chamfer, to put an end, to put a round over end or a chamfered end on a piece, a corner piece of wood. You have to hold it very steadily at 45 degrees for it to work. Not something I will be using a planer for personally, but it's something that you might want to consider using yourselves. Now the dust extractor or the chip extractor easily clips on, pops onto there, and it pops off easily as well. Or alternatively, you can also connect it up to your dust extractor if you've got one. Now all I'm going to do with this today is I'm just going to demonstrate a few little ideas for you using the planer, how you might want to use it, and then you can decide for yourselves whether you can justify the price for going into Aldi Specialise and picking one up. The first, not test, the first demonstration I'm going to use is just planing down a rough piece of wood. Now this is from my coal box project, a little offcut, and it is a rough sawn featherboard. Now, as you can see, and here, it is, as a featherboard would be, rough cut. Now I'm going to pop that down and I'm going to run the planer over several passes just on a very light setting, probably 0.2 mil or something like that. Run it over a few times and then just show you the difference between pre and post planing. Next demonstration is if you were thinking of purchasing the planer because you need to maybe trim the side of your door so it just slots in to the door frame because it's just a little bit too wide. Now I have just with some OSB board kind of grossly exaggerated, if you can see there, there we go, a sort of bulge maybe in the side of your door, which I'm going to just clamp this to the side of the bench and then plane it down a little bit, and just to show you the difference again between a pre and post planed piece of material. Let's give that a go. And one more demonstration just before we wrap things up. I have here a offcut of one of my cutting boards, which is end grain. Now it's something I'm no planer expert in any way, but I do use the thicknesser quite a lot. Now if you are planing end grain, you really have to be very careful with this. Lots of tear out could easily happen, and again has to be very fine passes. Now if you can see on this, there's quite a ridge there. That might be a little bit better. There we go. So just demonstrating, just using this offcut from a cutting board, I'm going to try and plane down that ridge to try and get it a sort of a slightly more flatter, smoother surface. So again, very lightly on the end grain. Let's give it a go. Okay, just before we conclude on the 3 demonstrations, I can hear you all laughing at my planing technique. It is absolutely atrocious. Please do not watch this video on how to use an electric planer. There is hundreds, if not thousands, of YouTube videos out there. This is just more of a demonstration of the Workzone one. And also, you will all be using 2 hands. Well, the vast majority of you will be anyway. But just to conclude with the 3 different demonstrations. Firstly, the rough sawn featherboard. Now hopefully from here onwards, that way is where the plane section is against the rough sawn. Now I'm hoping the camera can bring out the difference, because the smoothness here now is excellent. It really is very good. It's planed it really well. Still could, you know, carry on with a few more on that, but I just thought I'd stop just to show you and highlight the difference between the 2. So excellent on the featherboard. I had to put an arrow on this one to remind myself where I'd actually cut it. So the demonstration on the OSB, just removing a very uneven bump in it, just flattened it out really good on the planer. Now again, that was just an example. If you maybe the side of a door or something, you just need to take a little bit off. I think this probably took a couple of mil off, just with several passes, multiple passes I'll say. And then finally, most difficult is working planing end grain. Now the section, if you remember the ridge, the section of ridge was actually on this bit here, and if you can see, you know, the ridge is now completely gone. You can see it where the shading is, where the actual ridge part was there. So it's done an exceptional job on a very difficult hardwood end grains. Alright, so that is very, very impressive. Took me multiple passes on it. I think it was on set on 0.1 or 0.2 of a millimetre. As you could see, I was continually passing and checking, but by far the best way to do it, otherwise resulting in probably significant amounts of tear out. So to finally conclude and to bring up the second point from my introduction around Aldi Workzone Ferrex tools is the price. I purchased this cordless electric planer, 18 volt planer, for £29.99 in an Aldi sale. £29.99. It's incredible value for money. I know they retail higher at that. I think they retail at £49.99, which brings me to that second point in regards to lots of other comments you will see. If you look at my other Aldi Ferrex videos, particularly the belt sander and the disc sander and the Impact Driver, you will get lots of maker folk in there saying, I've got this for, and give me a figure. I went into my local Aldi and they were clearing out today and I paid 20 quid for it or something. So when you see the special buys come up, the downside to these tools, as other people point out, is they are not for general sale throughout the year. You can't just walk into an Aldi and buy one of these. You've just got to keep your eye out. And then it's, can you hold your nerve? Because lots of Aldi stores will want to clear the floor space and inevitably end up having significant discounts. So you'll see this is good value at £49.99. Make no mistake about it. This is unbelievable value at £29.99. Okay, so it's entirely up to you. Would I recommend this product? I think you can see, absolutely. Alright, if you are an occasional hobby DIY enthusiast, people are getting in touch with me who are in the trade, who leave the tools in the van and have their garage full of Aldi tools, because A, they're really easy to work with, they've got a bulletproof 3-year warranty, and they're great value for money. Okay, I hope this has been of help to you. Please consider, if you enjoyed this video, enjoyed this review, think about maybe giving it a thumbs up, or even considering subscribing to the channel. Lots of making videos coming up, possibly 1 or 2 more reviews. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.